Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hope the sun is shining where you are. Dan, did I make you co-host? Let me do that first before
Don't think so.
let me do that before I get distracted.
Let me get on waiting room.
You got it?
Got it.
Thank you, sir. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day for beautiful people, and I'm happy to be in this space. Yo, we're kicking off Q4 with hella momentum, trailblazing, lighting the trail for what the end of our year is gonna look like with some intentionality. And so we are excited that you're here today. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see your beautiful and your handsome faces in this space. We've got a lot to cover today. We're going to get straight to it so that we leverage everyone's time most efficiently. Now, I'm going to ask you before we get started if you can at all turn your cameras on, be present, contribute, give us your energy for this next 55 minutes as we invest the most precious asset that we have, which is our time with one another, with the objective of sharpening our skills, sharpening our tools to crush Q4 going into 2026. I don't know about you. I was talking to one of my coaching clients yesterday, and their focus for 2026 is icon agent. They want to be icon agent. If you all don't know what an icon agent is, it's someone who's closed 30 transactions in one fiscal year, and you get recognized by EXP as it's a status icon agent. Okay, well, that my client wants to be an icon agent. Well, that work starts today. Preparation for 2026 has already began, and if proper preparation will prevent a poor performance, that's exactly why we are here today. Dan, take yourself off of mute, brother. We are already on the field, my man. We don't need any motivational speeches in the tunnel. We've been doing this for 10 months. We're rolling. We've got, if you're not motivated on October 16th, get off the call. Okay. If you come in here for motivation, you're in the wrong space for motivation. We're coming here to learn execution at the highest level. So, my brother, take yourself off of mute. Happy Thursday. It's always good to see your face. Let's get straight to it.
All right. Where do you want to start, Vernon? We got a few topics to roll through today. What do you want to get kicking off on?
Yeah. So let's go with our let's go a year, not a year to date, but a month to date. And then we're going to transition straight into the new assets that we've got created for the team. We've got some assets that we're going to present to you that are going to be included in your buyer consultation for flex leads as it relates to how we introduce ZHL. We figured giving a visual in the buyer consultation, hoping that you're using the consultation as a tool, as a bridge from appointment met to showing more homes. And if you are having that conversation around ZHL, we've had a one pager designed to help simplify that communication and articulation and present some visualization for our leads as we're going through that buyer consultation. So we're going to talk about that first, and then we'll transition into some of our back end stuff. Dan, how does that sound?
Sounds good. All right. Here's the visual on the ZHL buyers one page. Um, So this is something that we are still working through, getting approval from Zillow, getting approval from EXPON to make sure that we are good to go to use this as marketing material. Zillow has their own design and branding center, which is has a few gaps that we're trying to bridge. So in any case, we should have this ready for you guys in the next couple of days or so. But like Vernon said, the idea of this one pager, this is a tool for you to put into your buyer's consultation. Implement it. If you know how to just split your PDF version of your buyer's consultation and insert new pages, you can do that from Glide. You can do that from um, a lot of your e-signing tools that work with that. Anything that's got like a PDF editing tool for it. But if you use Glide, which is free through Car, you can cut, insert, and remerge together PDFs and just pop this straight into your existing buyer's consultation. If you don't know how to do that, reach out to Molly. She can get it put together. It's just going to have a longer turnaround time because that'll just go into the. Oh yeah, Daniela, Canva can do that too. Really good point. Canva will absolutely, if you use Canva for your buyer's consultation, you can just pop this straight into Canva. That's actually probably the best way to do it. I really got to get on Canva. I don't use it often enough. Um, but the point here, what we've got is an overview of ZHL to give you all a tool. One, to be able to internalize all of the value propositions, the selling points of ZHL. So when you're in the field, when you're talking, when you're making your pitch to someone kind of on the fly, you know exactly what the key talking points are from Zillow. But then two, so that you've got a structured point in your buyer's consultation when you talk about financing to bring up the ZHL conversation. ZHL is here to stay. ZHL is the way that Zillow is moving forward. They are tracking these metrics really, really tight, really, really closely, as we've talked about to you guys to the point where you're probably sick of hearing about it. This is something that they are directly relating to our team's metrics and our health. They're looking at closings, but they're also looking at the pre-approvals that we are partnering with them on for ZHL. It's a competitive product, it's a good loan team, but it's also something that our continued engagement with Zillow is going to be heavily, heavily weighted on. So keep an eye out for this. It's got the different types of loans that you can go through. It's got, I'm sorry, the different types of loans, which are down here, conventional, FHA, jumbo, all of this. It's got the information for you to share with your clients. It's got next steps for what specifically they will need to do to move forward. And then here up at the top, it's got the 6 key value propositions that you can pitch to your clients of why ZHL, and not just like we're sending you to ZHL because you went through Zillow, right? They've got the different types of loans. They're loan officers. They're very, 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 very picky about the loan officers that they use, the no cost appraisal, all digital, all online. They also, I don't think we talk enough about this, but they have the ability to get a pre-approval, or at least get like 95% of the way to a pre-approval without running credit. So if you have a client who that's one of their objections is, oh, I don't want to get a pre-approval, I don't want to hit my credit. They've got this pitch here, pre-approved with no credit impact, right? So if they go through ZHL, you can get a pre-approval without it having impact, and then super fast turnaround time. So again, keep an eye out for this. We're in the final stages of getting this approved from EXP and Zillow so that we can get this as a one-pager. But keep your eyes out for that and make sure you're implementing that into your buyer's consultation. Bernie, anything else you want to say on this?
Yes, just want to reinforce a few things that you said, Dan. Team, let me bring some things to your attention. This top section is the value proposition for YZHL. So let's become familiar with it. Let it become almost a flow as if we're talking, we're talking the art and science of converting a lead. Let this be a part of our cadence. Let's incorporate this into your flow. This is a study piece so that we can flow from this, articulating what the value prop is of ZHL. As Dan said before, ZHL is here to stay. So let's accept it as opposed to reject it, which when we go through some of the transfer attempts and some of the numbers that Dan's going to present here in a second, we see that there's been an active push to transfer leads to ZHL for loan approval. We're going to go through that, but we're going to put our foot on the gas as it relates to that urgency. But the way that we do it is intentional by providing education and information. This is artillery for us. Okay. So getting familiar with their loan types and the value proposition. And what we're going to train on are some frequently asked questions that are kind of posed as objections that you may experience in a buyer consultation that we want to make sure we're equipped to respond to or to answer to, right? We'll get into that in future trainings, but we wanted to make sure that you guys have this template. You study this template. And as he said, if you're not familiar, savvy in Canva or any of those other platforms that he spoke to, we do have a marketing team. And Molly and our VAs are more than willing and able to incorporate this into an updated buyer consultation for flex agents that you can specifically use for our leads who you're going to be transferring to ZHL. So use the company resources that we're paying for in our commission split to our advantage when as it relates to this. That's what I got, Dan.
All right. So on that note, I think Brennan, I'll pull up the stats for ZHL transfers, which is on the road. So I want to really recognize everyone who has been engaging with the ZHL process. I know this is something again that we've been talking about a lot, and Vern and I really just want to make sure that we say we're seeing you. We're seeing everyone who is trying, who's making the outreach, who is attempting to connect clients with ZHL. So here we can see this number is the percent of leads that you all are making the transfer, making that connection to ZHL, making the attempt here. And so you can see there's a ton of names here who are in the double digits
And is there a way for
of,
you to is there a way for you to blow that up a little bit?
yeah, let me see. Is that any better?
Yeah, it's a little. Is that a little more visible for you guys? I really want you to see the
A little
names
bigger.
and the percent to transfer rate because this is important. Yeah, that's much better, brother.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay. So, we know when you're making a connection, the clients ultimately have to be the ones to walk through the door, right? So like the biggest thing that we have in our control is actually making that initiating the transfer and making the pitch to the customer for why they should get connected with our loan partner. But we see everyone who is making these. You can see Kelly, 10 transfers out of 40 leads. She's transferring a quarter, fully a quarter, and almost half of all of the customers that she's met with. Glenn, two-thirds of all of the customers that he's meeting with. I don't know if Glenn's on this call, I can't see, but he's
He's not.
transferring those. Ina, Demian, V, and V actually, is V on the call here? Because I wanted to call on her. Uh,
I don't see
or
her.
we got V. Ah, maybe she'll jump on late. V had a really, really great contribution around what we're going to talk about next, which is getting offers submitted, getting from showing homes to approved clients. But Julia, Junhee, Daniela, Blessing, Lisa, Aaron, Ray, thank you for making these transfers, for initiating this. And actually, I'd love to hear from anyone who has made some of these transfers. How has that process gone? Have you gotten clients connected? Have there been any barriers? Is there anything that you want support or coaching or to provide feedback to ZHL on for those of you who are making or attempting to make the connection to your ZHL partner?
Anyone?
I have something,
Who's that?
Hmm.
Sierra.
Sierra. So Zillow, it'll pop up and it'll say your client is interested in Zillow Home Loans. I need to know, I would like to review what does a buyer do um to prompt Zillow to say this to me? Because it seems like they're interested in Zillow Home Loans. Did they push on a button to say they were interested? My process has been, oh, great, they're interested in that. So I'm going to go down that road with my client and connect them. But I have a lot of people who aren't quite ready for that. So that is
Yeah.
like a little bit of a disconnect right there
Hmm.
because it's like they're saying they're ready, but I actually don't think they're quite ready. And so then Zillow, then I'll put them on group chat and then my people are really standoffish. They're not quite ready. So I think I have to
Is
be a little bit more
is
gentle
this
about that connection to make
Yes,
sure
Sierra,
that they're ready.
is this a recent thing? Like, is this within the last couple of weeks, or is this something from
Yes,
a couple months ago?
that's recent.
Recent. Okay. So short answer is I don't know what prompts the pop-up. So, and this is specifically like you're getting a notification on Follow Up Boss, or it's just saying your client might be interested in Zillow Home Loans.
Yeah, I get a text and I get a prompt on Follow Up Boss. I get a text saying the client has indicated they're interested in Zillow Home Loans, and then I'll go to the client and they're not.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's
My
like something simple that they clicked on or
Mhm.
that they're not actually interested quite yet, and I need to talk them through that, which I want to, but I'm like also getting this prompt from Zillow, so I'm like, oh, they're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, so okay, I don't know the answer to this. This is a guess.
Okay.
And there's a lot of these little pop-ups that even our growth advisor, they're like, I don't know, the tech team just sometimes they roll out new products and like any company, they don't fully communicate it. But my guess is it's probably someone interacting with the mortgage calculator buyability tools that Zillow has on their website. And
Okay.
so that they're making that word may do a lot of work in that prompt that you're getting. Your buyer may be interested in Zillow Home Loans.
Okay.
They're probably just populating intelligence to you for follow-up actions that you can take with your client rather than this person raised their hand and they want to get a loan approval. It's this person was taking action on our website that indicates they were looking around crunching numbers. It
Mhm.
may be time to talk with them about finances. But I wouldn't say for you, Sierra, and for anyone listening on this call, that if you get that prompt from Zillow, that means that the client filled out a form or clicked somewhere on the site that said, yes, I want to receive a contact information from a lender right now to get a pre-approval. I don't think that's what Zillow is telegraphing. It's probably just the Intel side.
Okay.
I would agree with that. And if I can add to that, for everyone on the call, here's how we handle that. We don't allow that prompt to create this urgency to mention lending before we would ideally mention lending in our conversion sequence. The conversion sequence remains the same, right? Even if that box is checked or Zillow's cheating by gathering data and misusing it and so on and so forth, or stretching the definition of a term so that that box is checked, that doesn't impact the urgency of our flow. It's still presenting the lending conversation in the equation, or in the process that we normally would. Generally, that happens at the appointment met, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, and then transitioning into the buyer consultation. Because, Sierra, in the beginning, the only requirement was that we transfer a percentage of those who actually checked the box. But then they quote unquote remove the box, but yet there are other data inputs that they're taking to actually trigger the box. And so for us, as opposed to going through the emotional roller coaster as Zillow tries to fine tune their system, we're just going to run the same play every time, repeatedly.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep. It'll resolve all confusion. That's a great question, though.
Yep. Brianna, we got a hand up for you.
Yes, I just wanted to put some input that I got from, I believe, Allie. And she said it is when they're on the website, it is them showing interest and eventually hearing about financing. The prompts that they're giving is just to prompt us to have that discussion and try to get the transfer, but it is by no means mean to click the button and just send them over. You still have to find the time and introduce that conversation so that they're comfortable with the introduction to Zillow Home Loans. So she told me it is that they are showing some interest when they're online, but that it's by no means an automatic transfer. Cause I asked her, like, if I see that prompt, should I just like click transfer and like get them going? Like, are they ready? What's up? And she was like, no. Don't just do that. You're gonna have people pissed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
And
That's
Okay, I
go ahead,
have the
Vernon.
verbiage if you want to hear it I just found the verbiage. It says, this customer has indicated that they're interested in pre-approval information from Zillow Home Loans. You can transfer the customer to ZHL directly from the lender field in follow-up boss.
Okay.
Right.
All
So
right.
there
Well,
you
that's
go.
pretty explicit. Okay. Well, I would then echo what Vernon said and what Brianna said from Allie of they're putting that a little bit too much to work.
That was why that verbiage was exactly why I had that conversation, because I was like, I'm not a rule breaker. I'm usually like to listen to what I'm doing, what I'm told. So that was my question. Like, wait a second, am I missing something? Because I'm new here and I want to make sure that I'm not. And Allie was like, no, I understand why it sounds like that, but it is still, we're supposed to do it the way that we've been trained.
100%. And
Yeah.
let's keep this in the context of conversion, right? We want the warm hand. We operate as advisors to our clients. We are advising that this is the next step, and here's who we're going to connect them to, and here's why. That warm handoff is priceless. If we just respond to the prompt and just immediately send them to ZHO without having established the relationship as their advisor, as their consultant, and then suggesting what the next step is going to be to help them move through the process of securing financing, we're going to lose. It's going to impact the ultimate effectiveness and productivity of us being able to convert by just no warm transfer from the lens of an advisor as a consultant as to here's what we do next. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry I cut you off.
No, you're good. I was actually going to transition to the um, buyer's consultation stuff. Is there anything more you want to hit on for?
Nope. Let's get to it.
Okay. All right. So what we are going to get into next here is talking a bit more about process and how to how to get someone from showing homes or you met with them to that buyer's consultation. And last time or 2 times ago, we came together, we talked a lot about like, when are you doing it? What are the signals you're looking for from your customer where you're in the house and it's time to make that ask for the buyer's consultation? How are you making that ask specifically? Getting into some of those nuts and bolts tactics. And so what we want to get into now is some of the objections, right? We all sounds like we've got a pitch of how do we bring this up? How do we talk about the buyer's consultation? But not everyone says like, all right, yeah, great. This sounds awesome. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll go through one of these at a time and take a look at these objections. And I think what we'll do, Fern, unless you got other thoughts or preferences on this, I think we take it one objection at a time, let everyone digest this, and then let's hear from the group, get the crowd wisdom. How would you respond to a client where you've made your pitch, you said, all right, great, our next step is for us to meet. We're going to do a home buying orientation, a buyer's consultation, whatever you call it. And then they say to you, well, you know what, I've already bought a house before, so I think I know what I'm doing. I don't really need that.
How many of you
as part of your, oh yeah, Vernon.
How many of you gotten that in a room, an appointment met? Show of hands. Please put the emoji because I can only see like one row at a time.
Carl, I see you shaking your head. You've never had that before? That is impressive. You gotta tell us what your pitch is for the buyer's consultation. That is
100%. So from the collective wisdom, this is an objection that for repeated buyers, whether it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, right? Oh, I don't need that. I know exactly how this home buying process works. How do you overcome that? Because there's an importance in booking the buyer consultation and getting them into that space. So us mastering how to overcome certain objectives is going to be critical to us getting folks into the space. It's going to be contribute to moving them down the process. How do you guys who've had this experience, what is your response to overcoming this objective? Okay, here's the contract. Low hanging fruit, Jay. I almost said something. Ooh, yes. I mean, no. Who's that? Oh, Ina, contribution. Thank you. Thank you for being the tip of the spear as normal.
Oh, no problem. Two things. I mean, one, I say that's awesome. So you've been through the process before. There have been some new changes that are really important that have affected specifically buyer representation. I'd love to take some time to go over that with you. That usually will prompt them. The other thing I found is to prevent the objection. It helps if you don't call it a consultation. It helps if you say something like, for a new buyer, has anybody taken the time to explain the home buying process to you? Or for a repeat buyer, has anybody taken the time to explain the recent changes in the home buying process to you? And that way it doesn't like step on their ego of like, no, I know how to buy houses. Like, I know, you know, that's great. Let's just like talk about these quick updates.
100%. And I think that, and I love that because there's new information, right, that has happened August of last year that would not have been a scenario 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So the introduction, the idea of, yeah, hey, are you familiar with what is taking place in terms of however you want to language that? Normally we'll get a no, I've never heard of that, or I know limited information around that. And I think that's an excellent tool to get them into the space because you're providing new value. I've used that same response in overcoming objections, and it's really like, oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know about that. I need to know about that, or they've heard through the news but don't understand in actuality what is how that's being executed on the ground level in the market. So thank you for that contribution, Ina. No wonder why your conversion rate is as high as it is. Continue to overcome those objections. Anyone else have a contribution around how you handle that objection? Oh, Dan, you got something?
Well, Daniela had a really good one in the chat. I don't know if Danielle, are you in a spot that you could take yourself off mute and walk us through that?
I don't think any guys are connected to my Bluetooth. Just like, do I sound okay?
Yeah, for now. You're a little bit distant, but I think we can get the gist.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just get off the Bluetooth.
Okay, you want to come back to her, Dan?
Sure.
How does anyone else handle that objection? I'm already familiar. I already bought a house, know how this process works. Is there anybody? Some of you just say, "Oh, okay."
Okay, so sorry. Is it better?
Oh, there you
There
go.
you go. Much better.
All right. Yeah, so if I get that objection, I like to make them feel like they're on top of their game. So I'll say, wow, that's amazing. So you're already ahead of the game. I'd love to take just a couple of moments so we can go over new information because it might be a little bit different than when you went through it the first time, but you're still, on top of everything. So it would be a breeze for us to just go over and refresh your memory. And that usually is like, oh, wow, yeah, okay. It's not like a full on consultation. It's more like a conversation. And then we just go over the important points. And, there's always questions that they have, because it leads with a conversation. And yeah, that's how I approach it.
Great stuff. I love the fact. I love the psychological approach that you take, right? You're going to pat them on the back and compliment them for the work that they have done up to this point, and then use that as an entry point to where, hey, right on, you're already on top of your game. You're going to be easy to work with. It's just a matter of just presenting some new stuff and reviewing a few things that may have already heard before, just to kind of, touch up on a few things. That's fantastic, Daniela. I love that. And I would bet to say that your response rate to that objection, right? To getting them into the space is much higher as a result of that. It
Yeah,
probably is.
100%. Thank you.
100%.
Yeah, and I think it just helps, letting them know that they're in the driver's seat, and I'm here as an advisor, and I always tell them my job is to make sure you know all of your options so you can move forward with confidence. And it's just ever since I've included the word confidence, like you're making the next step with confidence, it's been like a game changer in my conversion rate.
Mm. Go ahead, Dan. I'm typing something.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what you said in terms of adding like the word confidence of like this will help us move forward with confidence. I had a thought, and Otis, I see your hand. We'll call on you next year, but just one other thought on that too of like if someone's telling you that they already know the process and along the lines of what Danielle was saying of yeah, we can make this quick then. You could also throw in something like great, since you've already bought a house, we can get through this pretty quick. It'll still be helpful for us to just sync on what you know so that I don't make any assumptions about anything and skip over anything during the process because I think you know it or any questions that you might have had. Probably a better way to phrase that, but basically phrase it as a like I just want to get synced up to make sure I know what you know so that we're on the same page and can move as fast as you want to go. Because I would hate for me to assume something that's not the case and then fail to inform you of some of a part of the process or whatever. Otis, what do you got?
Something yesterday in coaching was really stuck with me. It's not about knowing the market, knowing your client. Client characteristics. I'm sorry, it's kind of a little tongue twister. Is key. It's knowing like when did they say it in the conversation? Did they say it right off the bat, or you guys got a little, broke the ice a little bit and said it? I kind of take the Daniela approach, like, oh, finally someone who understands me. Like, man, I don't have to just speaking words that people don't understand. That's great, Dan. The only thing is that, do you mind me asking, where did you buy that house? Because, there's different counties that have different rules. There's different expectations. Like, you have sewer lateral problems that need to be addressed in certain places now, like Vallejo, that normally wouldn't have to within the last couple of months. You also have, this buyer and seller pays these different type of things. So I get that you know the basics, but it's time that us to key in on certain things that probably didn't affect you if you weren't in that same county. Now, if we're looking in the same county, it helps out even more. But just like your last every deal is going to be different. So just allow me the time to just kind of brush over the most important things, and then obviously the basics. But if you don't mind, Dan, I would love to go over everything. Instead of spending the full hour, it should only take me about 15, 20 minutes. Okay with you?
Otis, that's a really good point. I like the question asking approach of where did you buy? Because if they bought out of state, if they bought in Southern California, if they bought in a different county, if they bought in a different city, there are variables. So just asking that question, where did you buy? And then asking the question of when did you buy? Because if they bought 5 years ago in 2020, there was a very different market. And so you might not go through differences in the process, although there are some differences in the process. You might really hone in on the differences in the market between when they bought in 2020 and when they're buying right now in 25, or if it's city specific. If they bought in 2005, that is going to be a very, very different market. Everything with lending has changed since then. A lot of things with the market specifically have changed. The process and the paperwork has changed substantially. So asking where did you buy and when did you buy, and knowing what sorts of changes have happened since then can really help you kind of refine into that conversation. That's Otis, really good point. Ask the questions to make sure that you can dial in. If they said, yeah, I bought a house in 1985 in South Carolina, then it's like, okay, we got to start from square one because that's not going to be helpful. Okay. Any other contributions on this? Otherwise, we can move on to the next objection.
Move on to the next one, brother.
Let's do it. Okay. All right. Put yourself in the headspace. You just told your client, great, our next step is for us to meet and do a buyer's consultation. We can walk through the home buying process. And they come back with, wait, what is this for? How do you pitch the value of the buyer's consultation? If you get this, it probably means that initial pitch didn't quite land in terms of this. And who I would love to hear from on this is anyone who has not contributed. I know we've got some people who have got the value proposition and their pitch of their buyer's consultation down and have shared it a whole bunch. But if you have not shared what your pitch and your value proposition is for how you explain to your customer the benefit to them sitting down and doing this 15 to 60-minute buyer's consultation, taking time out of their day, how do you position this as a value to them? And how do you explain what this is for? Why are we doing this? Other than, I want the run up so that you will sign my BRBC.
So here's how we're going to do that, Dan. So we've got a great combination of seasoned agents and some agents who've been on Flex before, and some agents who are new to Flex. So as opposed to waiting on a contribution, I'm going to call on one who fits in each category. Carla, I saw that you were vehemently shaking your head, no, that you hadn't had the experience of that one objection. So I'm going to call on you. How would you handle this? If we're in the appointment met and you're saying, here's what we do next, and they're saying, excuse me, why are we doing this? What is your response to that?
Normally I will say like, oh, this is for your guidance. Whenever you're ready to do the next step and buy a house, you're gonna be well informed of the steps and you're not gonna feel like that you're lost. So this is something I do for all of my buyers, and it's a great information for you for the next steps. That's normally how I approach it. And then I also say to them, like, and don't worry, like once we're in escrow, once you are ready to purchase a home that you want, I'm always gonna be there for you, like reminding you of what we went through, sending you text messages of every single document I sent, so you know what you're signing or what we're doing. So yeah.
Okay. So you're basically informing them this is a process of informing you and educating you through information.
Yeah, for the steps, because I always tell them like, I mean, like most of us like know like a general idea. We have a general idea of like how it is to buy a house, but most of the people don't know the exact steps. And then if you don't get that information, then you're gonna be like, okay, I didn't know this, like what am I doing right now, like why am I signing this, what is appraisal, like what is this for? So that is a great information for you to know what you're doing, and then you're gonna feel like, oh, I already know this, like you're gonna feel more comfortable, more confident about what you're doing, and you're gonna feel like this transaction is gonna feel so smooth because you already have an idea, and you already went through every single steps with me. So yeah, but I'm always going to remind you what we're doing in every step, because sometimes, honestly, sometimes people don't pay attention when I do my buyer's consultation, or
And
and
you're
I
not
feel
the,
like
you're not the only agent. Yeah,
they
you're
get
not the only
bored.
agent. But I like the idea. I like the idea of putting on the advisor hat, right? Education through information, because there are a lot of moving parts in the real estate transaction, right? And once we get into escrow, I tell my clients all the time, it moves hella fast. things
Yeah.
move hella fast. So I want you to
Yes.
not hear terms for the first time while we're in escrow, but want to really provide you with that education on the front end. What that does, you guys, if you're missing the buyer consultation, you have a gap in your flow, period. The result of that buyer consultation should create some adhesiveness and some further trust in that client with you, walking them through that process. So I love it, Carla. Keep it simple, right? And I stay away from the word consultation because it sounds too formal. I use buyer strategy call. Use whatever you want to use. But I'd advise of staying away from consultation. Nobody wants to have a consultation, but they would love to have a strategy call because strategy denotes what? We're building something. We're putting something together. We're planning. We're getting educated because we have a strategic approach on how to accomplish a goal. Dan, what you got, bro? Buyer strategy call.
The home buying orientation, I like to call it that for first time buyers. And kind of to that, I can't remember if I shared this a couple of sessions ago, but one of the things I like to say along the lines that we were just sharing is if you've ever had a friend or a family member who's bought a house before and they said it was a stressful process, like it was super, like buying a house was super stressful, it's usually because they skipped this step. And that's a way I like to communicate is like it's not gonna be zero stress, but by doing this buyer's consultation, this will help reduce the stress because you're not gonna be hearing these terms, you're not gonna be learning about this process while you're in it. You can actually get some prep up ahead and know what's coming down the line.
Nice. Let's go to the last one.
Do we have other people we wanted to call on?
Yes, absolutely.
Or do we transition
Carla.
to?
Ooh, I had the second. Where is he?
Yeah.
Mauricio. You're
What's
at the, what's up, brother?
going on?
You going on. You on the hot seat, man.
All right.
How do you respond to that objection to get them from that appointment met into your Zoom room for the consultation? Let's hear it 30 under 30.
Yeah. I would just say something along the lines of, hey, buyer, I totally understand. Usually what I like to do before we get into showing more homes is just taking 30, 40 minutes to just chat more about the home buying process. That way I can keep you up to speed on not just how the process works, but also the market that we're in. So when we start making offers, you know what to expect. Just something along those lines, just like keep it quick and simple. And then by then they usually agree to like, okay, yeah, I do want to learn more about the process, but I also want to know more about the market that we're in.
I love the idea that he inserts up-to-date market information, like what's happening in the market right now, which is extremely important, right? Because folks, market shift, but giving them an understanding of the trend of the market that we are in right now today and how you get offers accepted in any competitive market, who would not want to know more about that, right? I love that. Adding value that they're going to take hold of, that they need and will be interested in as kind of a bait to get them into that space. I love that, Mauricio. Good work. Dan, you got anything around that?
Oh, good.
Okay, let me call on one last Patrick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Handle that objection fresh out of Mexico. You should be full of contributions, ideas after your full time of relaxation. Let's go.
I take the more in the Daniela approach and the Otis approach. I make it feel good if they're because typically here in San Francisco, they either quote unquote experience in the home buying process or know it all. What's that? So I take the Danielle approach saying and the Otis saying, "Oh my God, like awesome! That means we can skip through talking about strategies and creativity and making sure that offer gets accepted along those lines."
Okay, short and simple. Love it. Dan, let's get to the next one, brother. We're starting
Let's
to
do
get
it.
yeah. Let's be conscious of everyone's time today.
Okay. Last one. This is kind of similar to the ones that we've talked about, but a little bit of a different spice on this. You make your pitch, you tell them about our next step is buyer's consultation to move forward, and they give you, no, that's all right. I think we just keep looking at houses. I'd like to just keep touring houses. And when we find something, maybe we can get into more detail then. The evasive person. No, that's okay. We'll just keep touring homes. How do you deal with that situation? What do you say in response to that objection? Anyone got a contribution on that? Otherwise, Vernon's going to jump in and call on some folks.
Yeah, of course I am. I want to hear how we handle this objection here. No, I'm good. Don't need to get in front. Don't need a consultation. Let's just keep showing. Be honest. What is your response to that? All right, fuck it. Let's just keep showing. Or
I mean, some of the times, I'm like,
let's keep it
all right,
real.
let's.
All right, how does that go? How do you guys handle that response from a lead? No
I
one's got.
usually will go ahead and, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
It's been a
Misha. No,
while. My bad.
jump right in. Jump right in, girl.
I usually will go ahead and show the houses with the compromise that, yeah, we'll go look at these houses. And then after that, I'll go over our consultation. Well, not consultation, because now we don't call it that no more, but I make an agreement that a compromise that we're going to look at the houses. And after that, um, we'll schedule to do the review of whatever you guys want to call it now. I used to say consultation because that's what it was, but I got to relearn myself the new terms, the orientation, and what was the other one?
I call it strategy call.
Strategy call. That's a good one. But that's what I do. I strike a compromise. We're going to do both.
Okay. Okay. That's if they're willing to compromise. Love that. Nicole?
So far, I've not had any problems with that, so don't jinx me.
I'm not, I'm on your team. Let's go. Somebody had their hand up and it went down.
You called my name, so I put it down.
No, that was me.
Oh.
But Nicole, we're gonna go Otis.
So in that situation, I'll show them the first home, but while we're showing the homes, I let them know, I'm have a conversation, kind of getting a feel for where they are. Then I tell them that our next step would be to meet. I prefer to meet via Zoom just so that I can have all of my visuals for you, but I like to walk through the home buying process. If they say like, oh no, we want to just keep looking at houses, I offer to send them a list of open houses the next following weekend, but I personally am not going to just keep touring if you don't know what you're doing. I want to get some more focus down to what you're looking for. I like to set the precedent up front that my time is valuable and this ain't HGTV. So, we can talk. I'll reach out to you again and see if you've come to a little closer decision on how soon you're looking to move, what side of town you're looking to move on. But as far as just running around, I'm not gonna do it.
This ain't HGTV. Did y'all hear that? I'm stealing that one. This is not HGTV. Y'all got the game messed up. Okay, so Ms. Nicole, essentially you're saying if they're not committing to getting educated or to stepping into that space, you're not going to commit any more of your time to go show any properties. That's your approach there. Okay, because this is not HGTV.
And I find that when they see, okay, she's not just opening doors, they have to put some respect on it. Like, you're not the only person I'm talking to. If you don't even want to sit down and learn the process, if you don't even want to sit down and learn what the next steps are, what are we doing?
Good point. Good point. Anyone have Dan, you got any feedback around that? Straight to the point. You don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. Is essentially what you're suggesting, Nicole.
I guess understand also where they're coming from, how motivated they are, right? Because if they just want to look at houses, kind of like not wasting your time, but kind of find out what's their timeline, what would make them make that move or even sit down with you as the agent.
Yeah. I think to Jay's point, I think it does really depend a lot on the client. Like sometimes you can get that sense of it's someone where they're just like, no, I don't know. We just kind of want to go out and look at homes. Then it's like, no, we're not going to do that. But there's some clients where you can tell they're more serious, they're ready to go, but they're too busy. They, whatever it is. In that case, I personally kind of think of it as like surfing a wave, right? Like you just kind of rolling with it to a certain extent and trying to get in the way of them buying a house. Not in the sense of stopping them, but just be the one that's there. And if they're really experienced, like there are situations where I would, as long as they got the BRBC signed, try to educate them as we're going along.
I mean,
Yeah,
for me, that's why during the first showing, I'm kind of getting a grasp as to where they are. What
Yeah.
bucket are you in? If you're serious, you're looking to, even if it's a year before you get yourself together, at least we can sit down and have a conversation about the course of action, what the next steps are, getting your pre-approval or what you need to do to be able to get pre-approved and move down the funnel. But if you're just trying to look at houses just to say, oh, this look cute on and because a lot of times I also find those people that do that have an agent,
Mm.
and their agent, it's not that they're not doing their job, they just might be on vacation this weekend or something like that. So you want to use and then ghost me, when they get back in town. No, thank you.
I'm a little confused by that. I don't know if we're going to put much energy into that, but in order for us to show, we have to have some signed authorization on file. So if we're doing our preliminary questioning first, we're asking if
To
they have.
get any bad guys that are stalking me.
Hey Kelly, we don't want to be stalking. We don't want to be a stalk. Hey Kelly, Kelly, is everything all right? Hey Kelly, we're gonna go ahead and mute Kelly because we don't want to hear.
We might need to help her. She's getting
Whoa,
stalked.
I didn't hear shit. I don't know shit. I don't involve me. Kels, help us out here. You threw me off. um uh I've got 3 hands up. Let's go ahead and get those contributions. I heard stalker and that sounded like a threatening situation. So
Someone please call 911. Come on, let's
there
get
you go. Kelly,
But
I hope you okay over there, girl. Don't be
all I see is a bat and a
It's
laughing
why
face.
I have a bat, so I don't
okay.
get stalked.
All right. Well, just put yourself on mute. We don't want to
I thought
hear.
it was, my bad.
Sierra, what's your
Sorry,
we got Sierra. Oh, Jay, you had something? I apologize.
These messages are recorded, you guys. At the end of the day, it's hard to follow Nicole because she straight mic dropped that. But when you're doing that, I had literally my last deal, I just got in a contract with Gary, showed them over about 30, 40 homes. Yes, we had the BBR signs. Vernon, you're a master at what you just said in the chat about, the right verbiage. Because if you tell people something, there's going to be some that, goes out one ear and out the other, but there's going to be some that's fixated on it. And literally the last 3-4 deals that I've worked, people have literally hung on to every word I say. Now, I know some are icebreakers. I know some are to get through the doors, to fluff them up, to give them pretty much most of what you got. So when you deliver everything you got, you obviously get that deal with the, residual income coming after referrals and all that. But sometimes you got to be aggressive, man. Sometimes you got to check your buyers. And that's exactly what I just did on this deal. They wanted to write on the offer. We wrote on the offer about 2 weeks back, but the wife still wanted to go see houses. I said, hey, we ain't even got a counter yet. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We don't even know where we lie at right here. Like, and I spent 4 days negotiating with this person. Like, at the end of the day, we need to see how this plays out. Oh, yeah, but we just want to be okay. We need to make sure that now if we're going to do that, now we need to start expiration and do it the right way. Because I need to make sure my L's is cool. I need to make sure that I'm doing business in the proper way. So they heard me the first time and it's like, okay, we promised, we're getting kind of tired too. We've seen about 30, 40 homes. We promised the next time we go out, it's going to be 4 or 5 houses. We'll make a decision. Gary took them out for actually 10 houses. They didn't make any decision. Then we came around the second time again, and we loved the deal that we're in now. Shout out to my boy Jay for making it happen as well. But it's almost kind of like the same thing. Before I checked them, like, hey, you've been calling me for fucking 7 days asking me about what's going on with this Bitter Street home, and that's letting me know that you love this house so much. You're texting me at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. Why the fuck do you want to go see the house next door? Like, you guys said you like it. It's got a weed problem. It's got all these things. This house over here has hella equity. If you're not going to listen to me, Vernon, I think it's time for us to separate, because if you're not going to want to walk into almost somewhere close to $100,000 in equity, upgrades, a house that doesn't need anything, and it checks all your boxes, what are we doing? Because I don't even know what your ARV is. I don't know what you're wanting to do with that house. And for God's sake, we ain't even wrote the offer. We don't even know where we lie at with that listing agent. So let's go over here. Show me you're really serious. We went back and forth. They convinced me to call the listing agent to get in writing that they couldn't get that home. And then they checked in with their lender, and the lender proved that they couldn't go up that high, even with the credits. So we settled on where they're at, and they're so happy. They met the sellers the other day. They love Jay. They love his team. Everything's moving forward accordingly. So sometimes you just need to bring the hammer down and let people know that your time is valuable, but at the same time, you got to let them know your your professional opinion. Like, one house is not better than the other, and if that's not what you're going to try to take from me, then what are you actually doing?
You know,
So I mean,
Modus.
sometimes you got to be a little bit, aggressive.
And you know what, Otis, Dan and I have a lot more in store for today's session. Just we were overly prepared, but the Otis is going in the direction of how we move the lead from showing homes to writing offers and creating that sense of urgency. He kind of set the preface for us that we'll cover in the next time that we're in this space. But great contribution, great feedback, Otis. Okay, we're getting down to the wire, but I want to complete hear the contributions of both Sierra and Heather. So let's go Sierra, Heather, then we'll rapid fire, bring it around full circle, and let's go on about our productive weekend.
Okay, so real quick, I think what Dan said 100% is how I work. Is it's a wave. Some people are going to be ready to do the buyer's consultation. Some people are not going to be quite ready. Unfortunately, it's not just A, B, C, D, E, and this is how we move. Everybody is going to be just a little bit different. As far as that goes, for certain clients, I think, they might be, my clients are not typically like very upfront about, no, don't want to do the buyer's consultation, or that's not going to work for us, or whatever. It's much more, they just don't say anything, right? Instead, they always answer the questions of, when do you want to tour homes, or can we go see this house? But then you ask the question of, great, what time is good for you to hop on a call and go over the buying process? Nothing, right? Like, they just don't respond. It's very passive. As far as that goes, when you are looking at properties, perfect time to introduce the buyer's consultation is going over disclosures together. We can go over disclosures together because they need to understand disclosure is actually a really big part of the buyer's consultation, or understanding the buying process. Is they're going to be looking at these long documents. They need to know what's important to look at. So I feel like that's a great way to just start it off with, let's go over the disclosures. You can fill in the gaps as needed with the buyer's consultation, and they don't even know what happened.
Excellent feedback here, Sierra. Love your approach, which is why you still hold the heavyweight championship belt for online lead conversions. Congratulations to that. Heather, you had your hand up. You went down. I don't see.
No, I just put it down because you already said my name. Super quick contribution. I think one of the things are they think that it has to be in person, and I said, I have a home buyer's roadmap just to kind of explain how the process works. That way, if you have any questions, you can let me know. Doesn't have to be in person. If their objection is time or whatever, they don't want to be in person or whatever, we can do a Zoom. I can email it to you. We can go over it together on the phone. If you got 10 minutes, I think it'd be really beneficial, and just really quickly, just, that it's not going to be super time consuming. It's not going to be like this big, huge thing. And that has seemed to help because I've done quite a few over Zoom, or, hey, I emailed it to you. Let's go over it together. And that way, if you have any questions, and kind of gets it out of the way, makes it a little less informal.
I like the combination of convenience, right?
Yeah.
And like leveraging the lead's time, as well as learning the type of lead that you're communicating with and what approach would land with them. It's different for each lead, which speaks to us implementing emotional intelligence in sales. We talk about that all the time. So asking questions to get an understanding of the personality type that we're dealing with will give us insight on how we approach them to get them into the space, right? This is what makes us masters at what we do. There is no one way. It's a continual ebb and flow and evolution of communicating with our lead to get them through the process. Dan, I feel like this has been a complete session. Yep, I see that you have.
I'm very happy. Right on time.
Right on time. Hey, listen, we're crushing it, but we don't take our foot off the gas. ZHL, we've been making transfers. If your name was not on that list of even attempting to transfer potential buyers to ZHL, I need you to put your foot on the gas. Okay, we need you to put an emphasis on that transfer. We'll get you the one pager once it's been approved through Zillow's compliance to make sure that we're compliant there. We'll get that to you, incorporate that into your buyer consultation. But until we meet again, which is not next Thursday, if you're part of the seller team, we'll see you next Thursday. If you are not, we will see you in 2 Thursdays. Crush it, crush it, crush it. Grace, peace, and blessings to you. Peace out.